This part will be scripted simply to explain what's going on. Simply put, I had a non-scripted rambling video that overlapped with a few projects that are basically being held back until this video is out. I was past 3 hours of black screens, pictures, and actual footage, when suddenly I couldn't split the film. I couldn't even delete anything, not even able to adjust the focus of things, despite being able to listen just fine to what was already there. So after waiting 2 days to try and fix this problem, I've just decided to cut out the bits I wanted all my viewers to see, mimic just enough of what I had up until that point, and then after add what I think is appropriate for the bit I left until the 4th hour. Everything beyond this point is unscripted and from 2018. And so I'm going to try this for an hour maybe. If you clicked onto this video, you know exactly what you're getting into, provided I make a thumbnail that sums it up for the most part. This is definitely going to have an update here and there, but this is mostly me. Well, number one, I've my mind is extremely lucid until I press that fucking record button. Then all of a sudden, you just get everything slips. I become more of an idiot than I usually am. But the reason I'm doing this is because old dogs can't learn no tricks. Old tricks. Old dogs can't learn old tricks. Old dogs can't learn old tricks. Old dogs can't learn new tricks. And for some reason or another, I have delusions of grandeur of being able to make comprehensive videos where I'm not going off of a script at all. And somehow, I think that this is actually going to be the first step to making that a reality. This is probably a horrible, horrible idea, and I am a very, very, very stupid person. But never hurts to try. Well, sometimes, but anyways. So, I've already wasted about 3 minutes getting to this point. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to finish this. Because while I might have no script, boy oh boy have I been rehearsing what I'm going to say for the most part. And you didn't have this dead silence coming from me. Everything was clicking just right. But it's not right now, unfortunately. But we're gonna get through this. If you click the video, you already can see how long this fucking video is. I can only imagine. So enough of the rambling. Let's get to the first update. That Let's Play, not gonna finish it. Probably might restart it if I'm lucky at some point, if I'm feeling like it, because this hobby isn't nearly as fun as you would think. And the only real hard part that I would say about it, because anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. Find what you want, screen cap it, copy, cut, and paste, or cut, copy, and paste, or whatever. Select it, and then fit it into a picture. That's there if you're even somewhat lucky. A second. Maybe longer if you're especially lucky. But usually, a split second. And how long does it take to find this? Well, some, it doesn't take that long at all. Others, it can take up to 20 minutes. And that is how a video that would be 10 minutes, just with all the things that you have to put in, on top of recording the goddamn thing. That's how it somehow becomes months and months of work. Especially just down to the fact that where's the reason to do it? Besides the deadline. Which, honestly, my last video probably wasn't going to get it. Probably was, I was ready to throw it all away. I did all of that time and I was ready to throw it all in the garbage. And it's just as well, since I played Let's Go, and I'll get to the dick sucking of that later. I'll try to make it, not nearly as egregious. Sure, we'll go with that. You could see how, in theory, this is where the quote-unquote real me, the more down-to-earth, the guy that speaks plainly or something to that effect, comes out. But I just don't see it. Or rather, I don't see much of a difference. I think there is a difference, but not by much. And we are about up to 8 minutes, so let's move on to the second part. Drawing blanks. That's just wonderful. Okay. That abridged series. Believe it or not, it might actually happen. I don't know how many people know this, and honestly, it's not really that important, which is why I don't really talk about it, but like, if you've seen my, I guess you would call it my thumbnail, my whatever, my avatar. I am a freelance actor, I guess you would call me. I don't know, voice actor specifically. So obviously, shameless plug-in time. Type in, like, obviously you don't have to type it in, but if you want to know what the hell I've done before, just type in Link's Bitchin' Adventure, and you will find a completely completely dead channel. But hey, while you're there, watch a few episodes, and like, you don't even have to watch the full episode. Just watch to the point where you think, okay, I'm done wasting my time. The second that happens, by all means, click the X button, pause the video, go to a completely different page, well, whatever. But if not, hey, hopefully you enjoy our very strange project that is, yeah. But the reason that's connected is a friend of mine on that, who is working with that. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a channel called Kingdom Key Productions or something like that. I'll have a link in the description for both of these things if you can't be bothered to type it into the search engine. Which, hey, some people just can't be. Anyways, and there are definitely some Kingdom Hearts things in the works. So, as a result of that, and we're about to 12 minutes at this point. As a result of that, eventually there may be something akin to A Birth by Sleep Abridged, or something like that. Or it might not even be anything really serious, it really depends. But hey, if you were holding out on that, look in that direction, you might eventually find something. Eventually. But I make no guarantees, unfortunately. And obviously it's... This audio is missing. This audio is missing. That much... Right. Maybe not all of that. You see, obviously you can now see the strengths in why reading from a fucking script is so much better in quality. But here's the thing. I've already said, my videos take a long fucking time. And unfortunately, the two videos that I'm working on, yeah. One, I'm expecting to be longer than my 40 minutes quote-unquote claim to fame. That... This audio is also missing. It was nothing like I was expecting, for better or worse. But, yeah. I'm expecting one video like that to be even longer. But first, I have a video that I've decided to make a two-parter. And I'm almost done with that, with at least the first part of it. Honestly, I think I'm going to have to rewrite the second part, or at least add things, probably add things, take things out, etc., etc. But I have a relative idea of what I want to keep in, because, here's the thing, that the first video that I'm talking about, it's going to be the last, it is going to come after the two-parter. And that video almost never got made because these are two videos that have a deadline. They have a deadline because of what they're talking about, in the same way that a closer look at Trace, and so on and so forth. Oh god, I sound like a complete pretentious douche. I must at the very least. I sound that way to myself, if nothing else. But yeah, that video, those two videos, like I said, they have a deadline because of the fact that at some point I'm just not going to be able to make them. And the thing is, I have other ideas. The thing is, though, those videos could be, like, as far as I'm concerned, they could be made at any time. Maybe I could add things here or there, but there's no pressing moment. They could be made in 2020 and they wouldn't be out of place for the most part, at least as far as my channel's concerned. But as it is now, I would need to get these two videos out of the way if I was going before I moved on to anything else. And the really long video almost didn't ever become a thing, mainly because I wasn't entirely convinced that Let's Go is going to be a thing. I knew that it was this audio knew about the leaks. But, you know, there's always that hint of doubt in my mind that something is just not going to go that way. So, you know, I was ready. I was ready for that video to never be made, especially because the way that I wrote it the first time, by the point that I decided that I wanted to write it differently, it would have been too much of it. It's really weird that I would see it as too much of a pain in the ass to edit a completely made script, or maybe not a completely made script, but as much as I had, as opposed to just rewriting the script. Because the reason why it changed was I had certain conclusions that I came to while I was writing it, and as I was getting to the point, I found myself disagreeing with some of the things I wrote, some very important parts. And as a result, to make sure I didn't make that error, especially willfully, I had to rewrite it. And for the most part, it's still not finished, that script. So that definitely shows you where the hell I am in the progress of that, and how doomed that project would have been without Let's Go. Because, well, there is no because. However, the thing is, I'm shooting to have both of those things done. Like, I'm shooting for the first one to be done maybe March. Scratch that. I would want to have it like late February. Early March at the latest. And then after that, I don't know if I could even take off a week before I delved back into that huge video. That's still not finished as far as the script is concerned. But I believe I've done editing for both of them to some degree. So, editing specifically editing within my movie editor, I guess you would call it. But anyways, so those two things, I want to have the last one just based on trends, especially from Let's Go. I would have to have it out like mid-May. I'd have to have that big one out mid-May, like late mid-May at the latest. Otherwise, it's just not going to get made, and that would be a real shame in my opinion, because I put so much time into it. But if you can't make it, you can't make it. Or at the very least, it would be very strange. Like, here's the thing. I'm actually thinking of this in the line of, in all likelihood, if this is like 2013 again, with Pokemon X and Y, it'll be revealed the starters at first, but we won't know where we are. It's much like late February 2016 with Sun and Moon. We didn't know where we were going to. Many people were debating that we were still going to Singapore or something like that. And you can go back to that and see the reasoning for it, and see how, for some people, it held up. And so, really, it's not that hard to see why people thought it at the time. Maybe they made some errors here and there, but I don't think there was any missteps in logic or anything like that. But hey, I've been wrong before, as we all fucking know. Unless you're a complete newcomer, in which case, why are you watching this video? Or listening to it, I suppose. No, just ask. I'm just asking a question. So, there's the update, and we're 23 minutes in. This is exactly why I thought this was going to take so long. Okay. And now I need to talk about this second issue. When you clicked onto this video, you evaluated how long it was, you evaluated what the thumbnail was, you evaluated what the title was, and more than likely, if you weren't subscribed and you just so happened to come upon this video, the thing that lured you to this video were the tags that I put on it. All 4 of these could be considered bait. Clickbait, if you will. But that doesn't inherently make them bad. What would put them in a negative light is if what I showed in the thumbnail had nothing to do with anything that's being said here, or if the title was misleading. There wouldn't really be any problem with the time. I don't really think you can hide the time as far as I can tell, and then if I had a fuck ton for my tags that had nothing to do with the video, once again, that would be pretty scummy. And I'm going to say this right now before I get into what I'm obviously leading towards. If any of that happens, if I make something that is false advertising in any way, if I have tags that have nothing to do with the video, I will understand if you want to dislike that video, because it's a betray of trust. And when you go into a video, you are investing your time into that video, and you invest as much time as you think is worthy of said time, because that's all you really have if we're not talking about money. And so it really is, in a sense, a ripoff when false advertising is done. It's considered scummy because it is rather dishonest. It is you duping people because you know what will get clicks, what will draw you attention in the case of tags, and all of these other things. If you engage in those things, typically people glaze their eyes over and ignore it, specifically if it is so overt. So the thing that I'm getting towards is something that I need to put out here now, not wait on it. It has to be part of this. And as far as I'm concerned, minus the update, it is the most important thing. Maybe even more, more important than the update. Because supposedly, as long as you can transform the content, Nintendo is apparently interested in the idea of allowing people to monetize off of that. Now, the only reason the only reason that I became, I don't know what you would call it, partnered with YouTube in any regard, was so I could make my own custom thumbnails and make those work. So, in all likelihood, I am going to experiment on a video that's unlisted or something to that effect. Because the one thing that I want to do is, if I'm going to monetize something, I want to make sure that it's entirely within my control to make sure that all of the ads, whatever they may be, are saved till the end. Now, for all I know, that's not possible because I haven't experimented with this yet. But I want to make it so if you want to contribute to anything that goes into the hat, that it was something that wasn't subjected onto you the second that you clicked onto the video. Because I've been there, and right now I don't want anyone to have to go through ads you can't skip, or worse than that, 2 ads in a row, because that would pretty be scummy. It's just annoying, and in my opinion, it's very scummy. So I'm just going to be experimenting with that on videos that only I can interact with, as far as I'm concerned. But I wanted it to be on the record that that is something that I am going to be looking into, because I have a very small, like, what was it, 16 subscribers or something to that effect. And if you want to drop out because I'm even considering this, go right ahead. Because I can see a future where somehow I've accrued even more people and I just go down the same, I want to say rabbit hole, but just through the same fucking arc that so many people do when they get high off their own ego and they start saying fuck the fans and all those different things without paying mind to the fact that you wouldn't be, especially if you're getting money out of it, might I add, you wouldn't be anything without them. Or at the very least, if you wanted to base your livelihood, you wouldn't be anything without them. I don't base my livelihood on this. At best, this would be just a few more extra dollars if I'm lucky in the jar. But it was something that I thought was important to be transparent about. I don't know if I would say transparent, but to get out of the way before I start doing this behind the scenes in a way that is as unobstructive as possible, because honestly, for the most part, I can take it or leave it. But those thumbnails that I want to have so people can be quote-unquote informed from the thumbnails on what they're getting in. Like, they say in for a penny, in for a pound, but really, I think there are plenty of people who can decide when they've spent enough of their time on this issue, on the issue of any kind of video. And clip this next part, because one thing that I see constantly is people get high off their egos, and when they do this, they are so self-righteous and arrogant as a result of that they shut out all criticism, and it's not until they fall to their very lowest that the message has any hope of usually getting to them. And in all likelihood, that will never be me. I live rather concerned that I could be that way. And I don't want to be, but even then, I'm ready to play with matches that will likely get me burned the same way it's burned plenty of other people within YouTube's history. And that's why I have to, if no one else is going to do it, I have to be the one who busts my own balls. So, the TLDR version is, I'm considering experimenting with monetization on videos that I'm probably not going to make viewable to anyone else. And if I cannot at least control them to be placed at the end of the video, I'm not going to go anywhere further with it. I'm fine with the ability to customize my own thumbnails, even though I'm still trying to figure out how the hell, like the dimensions and all of that, because it really perplexes me, and I haven't looked nearly as much into it as I probably should. For all I know, YouTube has plenty of videos that would address that issue, but it was the thing that I thought needed to be addressed. This will ultimately not affect anyone, at least not until I think it's actually a viable option. Whether it's an acceptable option to me, but thought it was the only thing that I should at least have in this video, and if I have to save it to the end, so be it. The other part was going to take much longer, I expected. And I think it took 40 minutes, and I'm 23 minutes into this. So, this is the end. This is the end of my 2018 ramblings, and I just want to get this done. I want to get the 2 videos done, 3, I suppose. And then I want to just finally relax in the fucking summer of all times. But I'm gonna try my best. And then, I don't know, finally make things that I don't have to have out at a certain point of time, I suppose, that I could make at any point. So yeah, I think this is where I say goodbye for now, and yeah.